In the evolving theater of war, Ukraine's battlefield has become a proving ground for the deadliest innovation of the decade: drones. These small, agile machines have rewritten the rules of engagement, turning the air into a silent predator's domain. From the open fields of Kursk to the shattered ruins of Avdiivka and the radar-laced hills of Crimea, Ukrainian forces have unleashed a relentless campaign of precision and patience. So today, let's explore a gripping series of real operations where drones didn't just support the fight, they led it. With every strike from obliterating convoys to dismantling air defense systems and hunting down command posts, Ukraine's drone units demonstrated how modern warfare favors the fast, the smart, and the unseen. What follows is not just a story of machines, but of the people who fly them and the enemies who never saw them coming. The Kursk convoy strike. On the 1st of June 2024, Ukrainian forces struck a large Russian convoy inside Kursk Oblast near the border using a deliberate sequence of unmanned systems that exposed a harsh truth about modern battlefields. A reconnaissance drone first found and watched the column, allowing operators to confirm vehicle types and movement patterns before deciding to attack. Video later shared by journalist Ilya Ponomarenko showed that Ukrainian-made suicide FPV drones were launched to hit specific trucks. The assault had been planned and executed by a mix of regular and territorial units. The 53rd Mechanized Brigade was working with the Malibu and Wings to Hell formations of the 103rd Territorial Defense Brigade. They together coordinated identification, timing, and strike missions. Instead of seeking to strike randomly, the teams targeted the convoy's extremities, detonating munitions against trucks at the head and at the tail. By crippling the lead and rear vehicles, they turned movement into entrapment, and the immobilized middle of the column became an exposed kill zone. The result was decisive. Roughly 10 military trucks were destroyed, and the column was effectively neutralized. The episode underscored how relatively inexpensive agile drones could inflict disproportionate damage on concentrated logistics. It also exposed a costly miscalculation by the attacked forces, which had massed vehicles close to the border, perhaps believing political constraints would prevent cross-border reprisals. That assumption failed in practice as Ukrainian operators demonstrated both reach and precision. Precision retribution in Avdiivka. Nearly a year and a half after that strike, in November 2025, Ukrainian intelligence announced another hard blow. This time inside occupied Avdiivka in Donetsk, the main directorate of intelligence, widely known by its Ukrainian acronym HUR, said its operatives had discovered a Russian command post embedded inside a partially destroyed building. The headquarters belonged to a unit called Rubicon. They specialize in combat drone operations and described by Ukrainian authorities as among Russia's most advanced and well-equipped drone formations. HUR said that operatives on the ground secured precise coordinates, and an FP-2 drone loaded with more than 100 kilograms of explosives was guided to the target. The strike detonated inside the building, destroying the command post and killing several officers and drone operators. HUR framed the operation as a measured act of retribution. Those who had allegedly overseen war crimes against Ukrainian civilians and soldiers would face consequences. The destruction of a unit devoted to drones carried layered significance. Operationally, it reduced the enemy's capacity to direct loitering munitions and coordinated small UAS strikes. Symbolically, it reflected a shift in which Ukrainian intelligence and strike capabilities had matured to the point of hitting adversary specialists and elite formations inside heavily contested urban areas, blunting air defenses in occupied Crimea. Around the same period, in 2025, HUR said its Active Operations Department executed strikes deep into occupied Crimea at air defense components that Russia prized. The agency released footage it attributed to strikes, destroying a control point for an S-400 system, along with a 92 N6E multifunction radar and autonomous power equipment for the command post. Additional assets listed as damaged or destroyed included an AORL-1 AS airfield surveillance radar and a P-18 Tarek early warning radar. These attacks aimed at high-value nodes of anti-access, area denial architecture. The S-400 family was designed to detect and engage aircraft and many classes of missiles at long ranges. The removal of control nodes and multifunctional radars degraded the layered sensing and command picture on which air defenses depended. Even if some imagery remained unverified by third parties, the claims reflected a strategic objective: erode the defensive networks that complicated Ukrainian air and missile operations. Tactically, such strikes require careful planning because radars are well defended and often part of interconnected systems. So, achieving results against those systems suggested that Ukrainian operations combine signal intelligence, cyber or electronic warfare seams, and physical strike options that allowed temporary blinding or disruption of key elements. Special operations in the former Kakhovka Reservoir. Moreover, in the gray zone near the former Kakhovka Reservoir, Ukrainian special operators conducted a precise operation. Fighters from Huar's Timur Special Group and its Bratstvo Brotherhood unit reportedly advanced deep into contested territory in Veliki Kuchahuri, an area formerly dominated by the reservoir's islands and now transformed by changing waterways and the front's shifting lines. There, operatives engaged and eliminated 2 Russian soldiers before raising a Ukrainian flag and establishing a brief vigil over the terrain. This action combined reconnaissance, targeted direct action, and symbolic reclamation. It demonstrated how special operations units could project influence into narrow sectors, seize local tactical initiative, and deny the enemy confidence even in areas of ambiguous control. By raising the flag and publishing footage, HUR communicated to domestic and international audiences that contested spaces remain contestable and that Ukrainian forces could operate with stealth and precision under conditions of close proximity to Russian-held ground, watching, waiting, and the movements in Andriivka. Next, several incidents in the Andriivka area revealed a recurring lethal choreography between unmanned observers and their human prey. In one episode, the 414 Unmanned Strike Aviation Brigade detected a group of Russian soldiers moving among ruins. Ukrainian drones monitored their steps for an extended period, tracking movements, noting behavior, and waiting for the most effective moment to strike. The captured sequence described soldiers carrying fuel in bottles and choosing hiding spots among rubble. The FPV pilot exercised patience. When the soldiers clustered near a ruined building and then stood exposed, the drone pilot seized the opportunity and delivered a strike that left the detected group destroyed. In another Andriivka engagement, a Russian My-8 helicopter flying low and unprotected became a target. FPV operators detected the aircraft. Its low altitude made it vulnerable. Eventually, a drone closed in at speed, striking the helicopter and causing it to crash in an empty field with a powerful explosion. Both incidents showed a tactical formula repeated across the theater: detection, patient tracking, pressure, and then a precise attack. In each case, the human behaviors that followed detection, like pausing, clustering, seeking limited cover, translated into vulnerabilities that the drones exploited. This shows that FPV operations not always rely on dazzling technical sophistication. They often succeed because they pair human patience and decision-making with a cheap, expendable flying weapon system. The little moves that mattered. Additionally, not every effective strike rely on massed munitions or high-value infrastructure. Several vignettes highlight how low-cost targeted actions impose disproportionate losses and degradation. A lone Russian soldier pushing supplies became a target when a Ukrainian FPV drone shadowed his movement. As the drone closed, the soldier attempted evasive maneuvers like circling a cart, throwing objects, and seeking improvised cover. The drone operator maintained pressure and finally executed a precise strike that eliminated the soldier. The engagement revealed the psychological pressure unmanned systems created. A small, constant threat from above forced decisions that often compounded risk. Another account described a Russian BMP-2 armored vehicle that transported troops toward the front line. The vehicle was first struck by a kamikaze drone loaded with a large explosive, but survivors inside remained and refused to exit. A second kamikaze drone followed, striking the vehicle in a coordinated double engagement that ensured complete destruction and left no chance for those inside to escape. The episode underlined how repeated, coordinated drone strikes could defeat not just soft vehicles but also armored platforms when tactics and persistence were applied. Elsewhere, in the Kherson direction, Ukrainian border guards reportedly struck a civilian car that was transporting command staff from a combat brigade. The vehicle stopped in front of a building that, intelligence claimed, masked a brigade command post. It was in that moment that FPV kamikaze drones struck the car, igniting the vehicle and destroying it within seconds. The image of fire-consuming metal and hiding the immediate scene emphasized how modern reconnaissance, tracking, and targeting could translate a fleeting set of movements into a decisive hit on command personnel. These small-scale but precise actions accumulated into an operational narrative. Drones are not merely toys or tactical curiosities. They are instruments of sustained pressure capable of targeting logistics, leadership, and mobility across the front. Specialized units and countermeasures. Moreover, the Ukrainian Falcon Squad of the UAS Battalion of the 57th Motorized Rifle Brigade illustrated technical ingenuity in overcoming adversary defenses. These operators used advanced fiber optic FPV drones that could bypass Russian jamming systems. By linking operators and flight platforms over fibers and harnessing low observable communication modes, they achieved strikes that traditional radio-reliant drones might not have attempted. Falcons reported disabling Russian equipment, including nodes used to sense and track airspace. They also claimed that as battle was toward its conclusion in specific sectors, FPV and loitering drones dominated the battlefield. Falcon's work pointed at a continuous duel between countermeasures and countermeasures. Russia applied jamming, electronic warfare, and layered air defenses to protect ground forces and higher-value assets. But Ukrainian development of fiber optic and frequency hopping, low-latency control pathways, allowed some operators to fly under the enemy's electronic umbrella. The interplay suggested that small units with sophisticated signal techniques could break through otherwise constraining defenses. Air Force strikes on UAV control centers. Beyond small drones and special forces, Ukrainian military intelligence and the Air Force combined to strike higher-level command infrastructure. In the Kursk region, Ukrainian warplanes used GBU-62 guided munitions to destroy buildings that intelligence had identified as UAV control centers. The airstrikes targeted structures once enemy personnel entered them, and the guided bombs inflicted significant damage in short periods. This kind of operation showcased integration across scales, where FPV drones and loitering munitions excelled at tactical hits on personnel and mobile targets. Air power removed more permanent infrastructure. Now, what are your thoughts about this video? Share with us in the comments section below. We would love to read them. Also, if you liked this video, share it with your friends and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content.